So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about how do you deal with stress. By the way, I'm in Bali right now, Indonesia, which is where people come to deal with their health issues, to work on their health, to release the stress. So I thought it would be a great timing to make this video on stress. Just a quick introduction if you don't know me. My name is Prithvi and I'm the founder of a healthcare investment company based in UAE, and over the last 3 years I've managed to get together some of the most high-profile executives in the country. I've negotiated several multi-million-dollar transactions, including a $3.5 million deal, a $10 million deal, a $25 million deal, a $120 million deal, and a $140 million deal. And the $120 and $140 million deal belong to a $10 billion company. Okay, so that's the type of people that I've been around, and I'm just 29 years old and I do not have a college degree, and I have done a lot of work around spirituality and yoga before I was involved in what I'm doing right now. So I do have some perspective from that world that I have used in business, and I'm going to share some of that with you, and I've done a lot of study around this subject. So at the age of 9, I lost my father, and I was raised by a single mother, and she was constantly working. She had to take a lot of debt to make us grow up and to educate us and to send us to good places. And I've seen her in a lot of stress, and she was working all the time. And my father had cancer, so before he passed away when I was 9, 5 years he was sick, with cancer, and they were doing all kinds of medical procedures on her. So the reason I'm sharing with you is because I want to share with you what I have been exposed to as a child in terms of stress. And this naturally gives me the ability to deal with stress. And I can share with you tips and strategies that I have used over the years to deal with all of these situations and overcome these situations, especially when you're in a position of lack of power, like a child is. Okay, so also one more thing is I was sent to a boarding school where I was beaten by the teachers, I was beaten by the seniors, I was exposed to a lot of violence, a lot of blood, and a lot of punishments, and all of that has an impact on you, and these are very stressful situations, right? So I'm going to talk about stress and the strategies related to stress. Okay, so a lot of the stress comes from financial problems. We all know that, right? If you live in a bad neighborhood and if you are exposed to a lot of violence, well, that's not a neighborhood issue, that's a financial issue, because if you had more money, then you would be living in a better neighborhood and this problem would not exist. And similarly, almost every situation you can solve with money, okay, except for even health issues. You can prevent them by being positioned in a proper infrastructure where there are a lot of health activities, and you can join communities and work on yourself and even recover. Even the health situations can be turned around using finances. So I really, if I look back and if I just add this one factor, finance, into those situations, I see that those situations would not even exist in my life. So for example, when my father got cancer and he passed away, the most painful aspect of that was not the cancer itself, that is something he was dealing with, but the family was dealing with losing a person who was a financial asset to the family, who was a pillar. A man is the pillar in the family, and he is responsible for taking care of the family. And because he was not there, my mother had to work. So me and my brother were alone at the house, and then we were sent to the boarding school. So if we had the money, we would not have to face all of these consequences. My mother would not have to work, and she would not be so stressed and we would not be stressed looking at her being stressed about money all the time. So I can assure you, whatever stress you're dealing with, if finance was not an issue, then a lot of those stress would not exist. Of course, there are 5% or 2% of the problems that no matter what, they're not going to go away. And then in that case, you just come to terms with it. But there are situations, a lot of them, 80 to 90% of the situations can be turned around using finance. Okay, so this is what I'm going to talk to you about in this video. And finance is related to one thing, and that is problem solving, right? So if you say, okay, finance is what will solve the problem, then why don't I have the money? Why am I in the position, in the situation I am in right now? If you ask yourself this question, then and how can I get to my dream income goal, right? How can I get to my dream income goal? And once you start asking these questions, and once you start making an effort into achieving your goals, you will find that when your goals do not happen, a lot of stress is happening because of financial reasons. You have all of these problems that you have to deal with. So it really boils down to problem solving, right? Maybe there is a client that is not paying you, maybe you're not able to get a good job, whatever the reason is that's making you stressful. Maybe you have a lot of debt in your company, maybe your taxes are too high, maybe you're dealing with some personal problems with your wife or your girlfriend, or maybe you cannot even get a girlfriend, right? So I've dealt with all of those problems, except for the wife part, because I'm not married. So here are some of the strategies that I'm going to offer you. These are some of the techniques that I use, and I have not had, not once, that this technique did not work. This technique that I'm about to share with you, I have not had even once, one instance where it did not work. It always works. This technique always works. And the technique is very simple. What you do whenever you are having stress and anxiety, you pull out a piece of paper and you write down all the factors that could be the reason why you're feeling stressed, right? Look into different areas of your life: relationships, finances, money. I don't have the girlfriend that I want, I don't have the car that I want, I don't have the house that I want, and X, Y, Z. And then you may find out, oh, it's because of money. Okay, fine. How do I get the money? Well, I have to start a business. Well, I don't have the business idea. Okay, then maybe I can find a mentor. I don't have the money for that, and all of these questions may come in your mind, right? And there will be these jumbled up problems that are not even identified, that you're just kind of carrying it on your head like a weight on your shoulders, and you don't even know what it's about until you write it down. So clarity is power, right? Clarity is power. And you want to write things down. You want to write category, people and relationships, finance, location, all the different aspects of life. Maybe it's even health that's bothering you. Maybe it's your mother's health that's bothering you. Maybe it's your brother's behavior that's bothering you. Maybe it's your pet, your dog. I don't know. Write it down, everything that's bothering you. Okay, once you write down all the people in your life that may be troubling you, all the situations, including your boss, by the way, all the situations in your life that are troubling you, once you write it down, then you start digging deeper into it. It's an investigation. I have a folder in my notes which says, what's bothering me, right? What's bothering me? And the moment you ask this question, what's bothering me, and then you start identifying the source of the problem, and then finding out, looking deeper into it, why that is, then you will see the problem. Once you see the problem, that's all that I want you to do right now. I would just want you to see what the whole situation is. And different problems are interconnected with each other. So it's a complex subject. And if these problems are not solved and the stress keeps going on and you feel burnt out because you're wasting all of this time you're burning all of this time and your problem is not going away. Okay, you are not getting to your dream state, your dream position. You're stuck in this current position, and between your current position and your dream position, there are so many problems, challenges, stress factors that you have to identify. You have to write it down what the issue is, and you have to keep writing down until you have identified all the issues. We are not getting into the solution right now, we are just identifying the issues and the problems. Once you do that, just something will leave your chest. Something will leave, from your face muscles, from your head, like a weight would be lifted. Okay, this is the issue. This person that I have a conflict with, this is the issue. What is the conflict over? Is it about money? What is the conflict over? Write it down. And then you will see, oh, I see. You'll have an epiphany, you will have a realization that oh, I didn't even know what was going on in this situation until I wrote it down. And now I understand the problem. And then I want you to do is, I want you to either sleep or take a walk or run. Do anything other than sitting on a desk and just stressing about it. Once you have written it down, this is after you have written it down, then what will happen is your subconscious mind, and this is, I'm sharing with you this technique from Release Your Brakes, it's a book, and he says whenever you're dealing with a challenge, a business problem, personal problem, write it on a piece of paper, clearly articulate it, then go for a walk, come back, you will have the answer. Or have a sleep, wake up, you'll have the answer. And it's really, after a point of time, it becomes a fun game, because you keep identifying problems in your life and you keep knocking them out one after the other, and you will find that you are getting closer and closer to your goal, and stress is just leaving your body. And it's the most wonderful thing that I've done in my life is problem solving. Stress goes away when you solve problems, because when you solve problems, especially if there are financial problems, and why those financial problems exist. Even financial problems are just an end result. Finance is an end result of of your ability to solve problems. Okay, if you failed at solving the problems that are in front of you, you will not have money. If you are successful in solving the problems that are with you, you will have the money. So it really boils down to solving problems. To get to solving problem, you got to identify it, and then you got to come up with solutions. You got to use creativity to transform that situation. You got to use creativity, you got to use communication skills. And another thing that I was advised by my mentor is, once you identify a problem, write down, after you take a walk, write down all the proposed solutions that could be there, and then let it be. Sleep over it. There is a saying, sleep over it, and let thoughts come up, let solutions come up. Your mind is a very powerful instrument. It knows how to solve things. It knows how to solve very complex problems, and sometimes problems can be extremely complex. And you know what? You have not had the time to think about those problems. I had one man reached out to me recently for a consultation, and he had a business that was doing $600,000 to $800,000 a year, but the cash flow was just 11%. I mean, the cash flow was very small, and he told me that I work all the time, I'm making all this money, and I'm still so stressed and I'm so burnt out. I don't know where all of this is going. I asked him one simple question. I said, where do you want to be right now? He said, I want to make $50 million. And I said, is it going to happen in the business that you're in? And he says, no. And then the moment I asked him that question, he was like, no, it's not going to happen. I can work for 10 years, it's not going to happen. And then he was like, I see what you're getting at. I'm in the wrong vehicle. I'm working for nothing. I asked you a simple question. What's your goal? It's very simple framework. What's your goal? And is what you're doing right now linked to that goal? Is it working? Is that strategy of that particular business model? It was a restaurant owner. So that particular business model, it's not going to get you. And it was a family business, and that, by the way, talking about one problem connected to the other, the business was owned by families, and they had a lot of interpersonal dynamics. So there was a family heritage involved also. So it was family related business, and the reason he was not able to quit is because of the family and some complex situation there. So you see, that's a whole problem that he was dealing with. And I said, you know what, my friend, let me tell you something. You have been so busy working, you have not had the time to think. You have not had the time to step back and think, because the inflow of the clients are coming, and you have not had the time to have some time with yourself. He says, my friend, I want you to go for a walk. Now I could see the whole eyes shifted, his face shifted once he identified what the problem was, why he was feeling the way he was feeling. The moment he identified that, the stress already reduced. And then he was like, okay, now I know the problem. I just need to take some time and think about several solutions and take a position, and boom, like that, it's gone. But we don't do that in life. We want to keep going. We want to keep doing what we are doing without questioning ourselves, without questioning what we are doing, without setting goals, without sitting down, writing things down, and asking ourselves the question, is what I'm doing linked with my goal? Okay, even if it is linked, is it working? I am trying to fulfill my goal, but is it working? Is the strategy working? If it's not working, why the hell am I doing it? Okay, maybe can I do a different strategy? Maybe that would work. Can I get some help? Can I, go online, look for solutions? And, so there are so many ways of solving a problem, but if you have not identified the problem, there will be no way to solve it. So you got to write it down, and you got to come up with solutions. You got to take a step back, breathe, look at the situation, analyze, then develop a strategy and an action plan to deal with the problem. You got to take some decisions. It also happens because we don't take decisions. We keep stalling on decisions, and the problem keeps getting bigger and bigger. So you catch it early on and you take a decision. And sometimes the decision can be just elimination. Eliminating some relationships, it's possible. Eliminating certain operational functions that are actually not producing result. Firing some employees, that those can be situations where you just eliminate. Removing some friends out of your life who are bothering you, who are taking too much of your time, not giving anything back to you. So you develop a strategy, an action plan, that's the point that I'm making, and you decide on certain things. You take decisions and you be absolute, and you will see, you will start to move forward. And as you move forward, you'll start making money, and the problems become more and more complex. But your ability to solve those problems become bigger and bigger. And there will be a time in your life where the problems become so complex and so multifaceted that you would need advisors, right? If you look at a president of a country, a president of a company, a public company, they always have so many advisors that look at this big giant problem, and they all combine their minds and solve it. They write it down, they map it out, they identify values, and they remove certain functions, they add certain functions, they add certain strategies, they remove certain strategies. The end result is they make a bunch of money. Okay, so that's the technique that I want to leave you with. Experiment with it and let me know what you think in the comments section. I'll talk to you soon.